Hey, thanks so much for you all for joining me today. This is like one of my favorite parts about what I do is I get to come here and share with you all, very smart, dedicated people, some of what's working really well for us, for our clients, and like help everyone win on the biggest level possible. That's really our goal. Um, Throughout today's session, feel free to drop in the chat questions that you have. If I don't see them in real time, I'll come back and answer them. I want this to be as valuable to you all as possible. And I just want to pause a moment and give you the credit that is due. Like for you all choosing to set time aside and join a session like this and really learn and level up your skills, it just automatically puts you in the top 1% in our industry, right? This is not what everyone's doing. A lot of our industry is kind of rinse and repeat, same old, same old. You all, by being here, are showing that you are in the 1% that's saying, no, I want more. I want to know what's working. I want to know how I can improve my business, grow it to leave a larger legacy, have a bigger impact on the community. And I just want to salute you for that, because we don't get too many pats on the back for doing those kinds of things. So welcome. I'm going to jump in. Let me get my fan kicked on here, or I will overheat. There we go. So why Google ads are dying and what smart HVAC owners are doing instead. Is that a provocative title or what? My goal is to deliver for you all massive value so that when you leave here, maybe your mind's changed a little bit about, what playing the Google Ads game looks like in 2025 and beyond. And we've taken some pretty controversial stances here at HVAC Marketers that we're fully bought into and are seeing some pretty awesome results from. So if it's all right with you all, I'm just going to tell you exactly what's working the best for us, and I'll give it to you all today, if that's cool. So boom, let's carry on. As I do with every session, I want to begin by just level setting on where today's conversation fits into the overall marketing picture for you as an HVAC or home service company, more generally speaking. So there's 6 key components that you really need to get right in order to have massive lead flow, consistent job flow, and growth in the company. So today we're going to be talking mainly about paid ads and how our strategy's been totally revolutionized on that. But I just want you to be aware as we go through today's session that there's more to it than just the paid ads side of things. So for those of you all that don't know me, right? Well, I'm Alex Van Leeuwen, and it looks like I'm actually wearing the exact same shirt as I am in that picture. So it's pretty undeniable today. But my name is Alex, and I've had the privilege of working with some of the most amazing HVAC companies across the country. I own HVAC Marketers. We're a marketing company that helps our clients grow an average of 20% year over year. And I've also written a book called The HVAC Lead Maximizer. In fact, yeah, there it is, right there. And if you would like a copy, what you can do is send me a private message in here to make sure that I have your address. Unless you want to share your mailing address with everyone, then that's fine. And since you're here live, like I'll have my team send you a copy of our book in the mail, no charge. Just shoot us your address and I'll make sure that that gets to you. I'm the host of the HVAC Heroes podcast. I'm fully invested in this industry, and more so, what should you really know as someone that's on this call is like, this is all I do. Like, if you couldn't tell, all I do is wake up and think about how to move the needle forward for HVAC companies, and then go to bed, wake up and do it all again the next day. So I just want to be very clear. Today is not a pitch fest. Like, this isn't going to be 45 minutes, 30 minutes, however long we end up going, depending on your engagement and your questions. It's not going to just be a whole time where I'm pitching our services. Just to go ahead and get that out of the way right now, we are a full service marketing company for HVAC businesses. And if you think at any point, hey, wonder what it would be like to have Alex and his team just do these strategies for us and like help us in a direct way. We're of course open to that conversation. In fact, you can go to our website, hvacmarketers.com. There's a schedule button. You can book a time to talk with me directly, or you can hit me in the chat here. So happy to do that. But again, I want you to know that this is not a pitch fest today. Like, I'm going to give you my best ideas, best strategies, what's working well for us. And my goal is to do it in a way that you can leave here and implement on your own. Maybe you can hold your current marketing company accountable and ask some great questions that can improve results. You name it. I'm here to serve. You let me know how to do that by raising your hand and just asking the question or telling me how I can best serve you. Is that cool? All right, cool. Let's carry on. So what killed Google Ads? And when I say that, PPC in particular, well, if you're like most of our clients and most of the people that join our webinars, then you've probably spent over $100,000 minimum on Google Ads. Like, we've seen hundreds of thousands, even into the millions, like spent on Google Ads. And over the years, its performance has really changed. Reju, cool, you're the best. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm here to serve. So, yeah, Google Ads, if we go back 5-10 years, was like the obvious money in, money out, like great strategy. And we have just seen it deteriorate every year, and just literally month over month. And I'll get into some more of the specifics why. Real quick, before I do that, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. When I'm saying Google pay-per-click, PPC, like what am I talking about? Well, here's a snapshot of a Google search page, and what most, I would say most know, but there's like 4 distinct ways that you can show up on the first page of Google. We have the Google local service ads at the top, and then you'll see Google pay-per-click ads sprinkled throughout. So what you see here, this is a pay-per-click ad. This is what I'm talking about, is officially dead, in the casket as of July 30th for about 95+% of HVAC contractors. Like, I'll just say it as it is. Below that, you have your SEO, search engine optimization result. So this is like the map pack, if you've heard that term thrown out. Very important. I do a whole session on that as well. I encourage you all to join, but that's not the focus of today. So we're all on the same page. This Google Ads section is what we have just already done the funeral service for and no longer offer as a marketing company. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? That should tell you something about what the current trends are. So let's get into what killed Google Ads. So a couple of things. Number one, I'm sure everyone that's watching here live or is on the recording, let me know in the chat if this is true. There's some private equity coming into your service area, buying up companies, changing the landscape, offering questionable service, some good, some bad. We could definitely have that argument, right? Yeah, true. Yeah, so you're seeing it in your area. Yeah, well, it's happening all over the US. And here's the thing to know about Google pay-per-click. Google pay-per-click is an auction environment. So the more whoever's willing to bid the most is going to move the whole market up. And that's what we're seeing with private equity. We have literally seen situations where there are private equity roll-ups that are spending over $200,000 per month in Google pay-per-click ads. So how do you compete with that? Well, you don't, right? You out-strategize that. You can't outspend that in most cases. So if you can't outspend it, then you out-strategize it. And that's going to be the focus of today. True customer acquisition cost exceeding $1,000, right? We audit Google Ads accounts all the time, and we'll have HVAC owners or marketing directors talk about, hey, our customer acquisition cost is $200. Okay, well, that's what it says in the Google Ads Manager. But by the time we get into Service Titan, House Call Pro, we're actually looking at what is the true conversion of those leads. I mean, almost all the time we're seeing it over $1,000. So that's pretty untenable for most. Google is prioritizing local service ads. So you saw here, what's the very first result on Google search? Well, it's local service ads. It's not pay-per-click anymore. That's not an accident. That's something to take note of. And then repetition fatigue and ad blindness. So with pay-per-click ads, you're writing what we call ad copy, right? Your words on, you're positioning something, and oftentimes it's like the entry $79 tune-up. They're ads that are just so fatigued at this point over the past 5 to 10 years. And it's for all these reasons. And I would say mainly the private equity reason that PPC just doesn't make sense anymore. So, well, where do we go from here? Like the question's always, okay, well, I'm spending $5, $10, $20, $30,000 in Google pay-per-click ads per month. Alex, where do I put those dollars to actually get a return? Is anyone thinking that here? Well, I'll show you. We as a company have gone all in on Google local service ads. Let me just repeat that. We do no pay-per-click ads, and we're 100% in Google local service ads. Pretty big statement. All right, so let me back it up. And before I do, I'm just going to guess some of you all probably have some thoughts about that. Let's just see if I hit any of these, right? And if I do, just put in the chat, like put a thumbs up or a hand, like this is, it's just you and us and all of YouTube and the internet watching this. So like, just be as honest as you can be, right? So you might be thinking, hey, we've already done local service ads and we're not getting many leads. Like we get less than 10 leads a month and it's not really that productive for us. Hey, Alex, we're doing it and we want to get more leads, but we can't even spend our entire budget. Like Google just won't spend the budget, so we can't get the leads. Maybe you're thinking that you don't trust Google's vetting system. So Google local service ads is a pay per lead program. And you might just be thinking, I don't trust Google's little AI bot to like be the judge of what's a good lead. And so I don't want to play that game. Might have a marketing agency that says like PPC is crushing, like no reason to focus all the dollars on local service ads. Let's just stay with pay-per-click. Or lastly, you might be just thinking, hey, it's almost August 1st or peak season. We don't want to shut off what little lead flow we do have, or we just don't want to rock the boat and make any kind of changes. So if that's you, just let me know in the chat. Or raise your hand and just say, yeah, I'm maybe thinking that. And that's okay. I talk to HVAC business owners every single day and have these same conversations. So I want you to know, I totally get it. But let me just give you an example of a recent transformation that we saw through this approach. So everything I'm about to show you is all taken place in the last 60 days. So, right, we don't like to go, hey, here's something that happened 18 months ago and it might still work. No, this is real time. This is season 2025, real recent data. So we had a new client come to us about 7 million annual ballpark kind of size, just to give you some scale. They were spending close to $20,000 per month on pay-per-click ads. We're getting 0 results from local service ads. Had just never put any emphasis on that program. And I just want to show you what happened. So they just came on board, like I said, in the last 60 days. So from January to May, they were taking a PPC focused strategy. And here's what happened. So they were spending over $17,000 per month, seeing negative ROI. Has anyone seen negative ROI with pay-per-click? Is it just me? Like just me? Okay. Negative ROI on this account, spending $17,000 per month. And then in June, we did a complete transformation where we turned off the pay-per-click ads completely. And then we implemented our secret sauce local service ad strategy, which I'll reveal to you all in just a bit here. And here's what happened. So it went all in on LSA, local service ads, generated 492 calls in June alone, reduced the monthly ad spend by $7,000 from previous, and generated more revenue in June than from all of the ad spend in January to May combined. So is there anyone here that would be okay with that kind of result, right? Like if you could just make up for what, 5 months? Let's just do the quick math here. I am no mathematician, but we'll go 17,000 times 5 months, so $85,000 in spend. Or would you rather get a better result with $10,000 in spend? Like, it's pretty obvious. So I just want to show you what's really possible by just deciding to buck the trends and look at the data, not be emotional about it, and say, we're just going to focus on what works the best. It's pretty simple. So I'm going to go at a high level, and I'm going to burn through some of these slides because I want to make sure that we get through everything today together. I'll tell you what Google local service ads are. Before I do, if you're watching this with me live or you're watching the recording, you probably sit in one of a couple of different seats. Like either you have this is the first time you've ever heard of local service ads, and in that case, like your mind's about to be blown, and probably most of you all are running local service ads, probably have mixed results, and are looking for the strategy to really crack the code and get what I just showed you on the last slide. Or you're like a power user and you know everything about local service ads, and you have team that's actually going in and like taking action every single day in the profile. So I'm going to serve all three of those, okay? So, but just know I want to cover everyone. So I'm going to talk quickly about the basics, and then we'll ramp it up and get more advanced. And if you have questions, if you're here live, just drop a question in the chat, all right? All right, here we go. Why it matters. I don't think I need to sell you all on this anymore. Yeah, it's this. I'll just tell you, I can summarize all these bullets. Local service ads is the #1 channel that we generate brand new customers with for our clients for the first 6 months that we're working with them. Like, full stop. Is that a good summary? All right, let's continue on. So how Google local services work. So there are some hoops to jump through for those of you that have not yet registered for it. You have to be able to you have to run a background check first and foremost. You have to submit your license, and licensing varies state by state. So whatever license that you've been issued in the state, it's got to match the address that you put in the local service ads application. And then, background check. And then I mentioned this earlier, but it's a pay per lead program. And I don't want that to be confused with Angie or House Call Pro or crap like that. Like, we don't have any clients that run those strategies because those are shared leads. They're expensive, typically tire kickers, like really bad quality. Again, I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm just giving you all the straight information. If that's all right, like I'll just shoot you totally straight. That's just what we see with those shared lead services. That's not Google local services. The leads are unique to you. We see that they're incredibly high quality and extremely cost efficient too. We've seen between $35 and $100 per lead, but that won't last forever. Like, now's the time to get into this play and maximize it. And prices are going to vary by service area. So if you're in a super competitive area, you'll be closer to the 100. And if you're not so competitive, it'll be closer to the 35. Excuse me. All right, so how am I charged for local service ads? So you set a weekly budget. So for example, if you set a budget for $500 per week, you can think of that essentially as a $2,000 per month budget, $71 per day. And if your average lead cost is $60, then you'll get about 1 per day, 8 leads per week, 33 leads per month. Like you can just back into the math quite simply. And once your weekly budget is spent, then you just go completely offline. So we'll touch on that a little bit, how to maximize not going offline, right? And then you may get a different number of leads day to day, but you never spend more in a week than what you allocate for the ads. So here's why I love the program so much, is because there's a lot of leads that don't count. So if it's someone that's doing solicitation, if it's an area that you don't serve, if it's spam, or if it's a service that you're not offering. Like if someone calls for duct cleaning and you haven't listed that as a service, you're not going to get charged for that lead. Now, one thing that has changed is you used to be able to manually dispute bad leads within the portal. You can no longer do that. Google's, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they're better at doing that than you are, which sounds like a recipe for disaster, but I'll be honest with you, we have seen that their automatic quality control is pretty good. Like it's pretty accurate in terms of what's a legitimate lead and what's not. So we haven't really seen it be much of a problem. Yeah, so what we're seeing, lower cost per lead, higher quality than pay per click, just solid ROI. Yeah, I'm gonna just keep the pace up. I think, again, I would say 80+% of you are like, this is 101. So we'll just keep rocking. And yeah, it's absolutely a no-brainer for HVAC companies. Like there's no reason in the world that an HVAC company that, especially if you do between 1 and 10 million annual revenue, like let's say even if you're doing 1 million annual, there's no reason in the world that you shouldn't be getting minimum 20 leads per month through the local service ads program if you follow these steps. So plain and simple. You can easily sign up for it. This is not something that you necessarily need a marketing company to do. Like it's pretty straightforward. So I just have the link on there. Let's keep rocking here. How does the ranking work? So your proximity makes a big difference. So you can't, for example, we're based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. If we're based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and we want to try and get leads in Lexington, Kentucky, which is about 100 miles away, that's going to be a real struggle because Google wants to give the most relevant search result. So proximity plays a big factor into this. This is where we get questions all the time about where should we buy or lease a location or multi-location, which I'll touch on in a moment. This has been a great strategy we've implemented. More to come on that. Your review score and the number of reviews you receive, that's very critical. Your responsiveness to customer inquiries and requests. So in English, answering the phone, like you should be answering 100% of Google local service ads calls. And if you don't, then you run the risk of falling out of Google's good graces and seeing your lead flow plummet. Like we've seen this happen, which is a big reason that we've rolled out an AI CSR service. So that way we know that no calls are going to be missed. That's absolutely critical. If you take 3 things away from today's session, one of them needs to be 100% of the calls need to be answered by local service local service leads need to be answered. Your business hours, right? So if you are running your business hours 9 to 5, then congratulations, you're in the most competitive time, right? It's where everyone's running their hours. So be mindful of that. And then if Google has any complaints on your business, I'm going to assume if you're part of today's session that you are delivering a world-class service, and that's not an issue, but beware that Google's pretty smart and they tend to know when a business is treating people right or not, and that impacts the rankings. So how do you win with local services? So I'm going to go through a couple of different steps here. And again, so we're kind of going now into, I mentioned there's 3 types of users. We just got through the 101 basic, never done this before. Now we're going to move into you have local service ads, but you're not seeing too much for lead flow, that's what we're going to cover right now. And I'm guessing that's probably 80% of you all on the call today. So step one is you got to dial in your profile. This seems really 101, but I can't tell you how many times that we will bring on board a new HVAC company as a client, and this is just nowhere close to being where it needs to be. So what do I mean by dialing your profile? Well, got to set your budget. The way that the budget is even handled within local service ads has changed in the last 6 months, and you may not even be aware of that. So go in there, make sure that your budget is set, your budget is high, and that you're put yourself into a competitive foothold in your market. You want to update your ad schedule, make sure that your ads are running for as many hours as you possibly can, and as long as you can answer the phone, you can run your ads. Set up your business bio. Make sure that you've clicked at least 6 of the attributes within the profile that describe your business. You want to select your job types. Make sure that your service area is selected and set up properly, including the service area pieces that you want and parts of your service area that you actively don't want. You want to include both. And then add photos. Guys, here's a pro tip. What we've seen work extremely well lately is uploading a photo of the owner, like photo of the person, put it on the profile. I'm willing to bet 95% of you are extremely resistant to that. And I'm just going to tell you, if I could do this to you, right? If I could say, here's what I'm going to give you for putting your own mugshot on your local service ads account, are you willing to do it? I bet you would say, yes, I am willing to do that. Prop money, by the way, but I keep that on my desk just in case I need it. So adding a photo of the owner, we've seen that work extremely well. So that's for dialing in your profile. Number 2, mark your jobs as booked. If you will just do this one tactic, you'll place yourself in the top 5% of HVAC companies. It's extremely rare that we actually see companies mark jobs as booked. Most of our clients have us do this for them because it's tedious, but this is what playing the game looks like with Google and making sure that you give them every reason to rank you, right? All right, adjust your bidding strategy. So as I mentioned, in the last 6 or so months, the bidding system has changed within local service ads to where it used to all be automated bidding. Now you can select manual bidding, and you can go in there and say, hey, I'm willing to pay X dollars for an HVAC lead or a plumbing lead or an electrical lead or handyman lead or whatever it is that you want. And I'll give some tips on that in the 301 conversation as we get more and more advanced. But that's a critical piece. And I just mentioned the max bid per service. I want to share with you all the $1 rule. What is the $1 rule? Well, it's really simple, and it's been extremely impactful for our clients. If you're going to set the max bid or weekly budget, any number in there that has a dollar amount, instead of setting, let's say, a $2,000 per week budget, set that budget to be $2,001 per week. Or your max bid, if you want to set it to be 100, set it to be 101. Why is that? Well, we as humans love nice, neat, round numbers, but Google doesn't care at all. Google just looks for the highest number. So while all of your competitors are putting in those nice, even, round numbers, by you just putting $1 higher than what they do, so 101, 2001, whatever that number is, you are objectively willing to spend more than your competitor, even if by $1. So I 100% recommend that you do that across all of these settings within your Google Local Service Ads account. And then test both methods for your service area. So what I mean by this is for the different manual and automated bidding. So if you've tried automated bidding and you're not getting a lot of lead flow, then switch it to manual and try the 101 strategy. And in a bit, I'll tell you exactly what I think you should be budgeting for your max per job and your weekly budget. So we'll come back to that. All right, number 4, you want to drive verified reviews. So this is something that's changing in real time, like day to day. Google is changing the way that they do this. So you used to have a specific local service ads review link that we would always encourage to use that to send to customers to get reviews. Google is actually in the process of sunsetting that. So now it's a lot simpler and you can just send your basic Google review link. So that's fine. Google now considers that an LSA verified review. So just do that. But the point is, make sure that the leads that you're getting through the program, through the LSA program, that you're actually sending them the Google review link, and that your techs are doing a great job of positioning that review, that it's coming. And, hey, Sally, if you feel I deserve it, you're going to be getting a text with the link to leave me a Google review, and I get evaluated by my boss on that. So if you feel I deserve it, you can mention me by name. Like, it would mean the world to me. That's how you really get that revved up. So it's the text asking, and then it's the automation with the link and all that software. Yeah, if you have any specific questions on that, you can let me know. But we will carry on. And then 5, increase max bid. So this is where I promise to share with you some very tactical, what are we doing? What do I recommend you all do in terms of setting your bids? So here's what I'll show you. Here's a peek into the portal. And most of you all are familiar with this here. I would say at this point, more than half of our high performing accounts, we do manually set the bid. So unless you're crushing it on local service ads right now with lead flow, I would recommend you go to the manual bid. And then this is a bit dated. I would actually, for HVAC, I would recommend doing at least $100 or $101, right? And you can put that as high. Like, we have some accounts that we will literally put that number at 9,999 or 10,001, like super high numbers. And you're thinking, holy crap, Alex, like, we're not going to pay, like, wait, you're telling us to move away from pay per click and now we're going to pay 10 grand per lead. That's not how this goes. So Google, from what we have seen, we've done this for at least 6 months at this point, by placing that max bid per job, by placing that really high, it helps get the lead flow coming in, and Google does not spend that entire amount. So even if you set it for $1,001 as your max bid for an HVAC or an electrical job, we see those actual cost per leads being way less. Now, do you want to watch it? Yeah, of course you want to watch it and make sure that, nothing's going off the rails, but we do this across the majority of our client accounts, and we see that it works extremely well. And it shows Google that you're extremely willing to spend the money, and so you get to shortcut the line and go to the very top. So if you're writing, and you should write this down, like, if you're going to take away 3 things, the first one that I shared, the second would be this right here, which is manually set the bid. Again, unless you're just crushing it right now, manually set the bid and set that as high as you can. And then I'll share on the weekly, what we do for the weekly budget's probably going to blow your mind. So hang in, and I'll share that with you as well. Yeah, let's carry on. Just for the sake of time, we're going to keep pushing through this. All right. So this is like this is now the 301. Like, you've run local service ads, you're pretty versed in it, and you're like, I just want to get more bang for my buck. I want to get better results. All that stuff, right? So for that person, I'm going to share with you some of our best hacks. So open up your budget. My general message on local service ads is that it's the highest quality for the lowest cost you can pay for a new customer. So if I'm setting up my account, in other words, I want as many leads as I can possibly get through the local service ads program. Like I will literally beg, steal, and borrow to make sure I have enough money to put into this program. That's how insanely good it is. So I already shared with you on the per job bidding setting. For the weekly budget, I want you to open this as high as you possibly can. And I'll give you a hint. We have found that you cannot put 10 million or higher in the weekly budget. That's where it caps out. I'm being coy, but literally what I would recommend that you do is for the weekly budget, put in 9,999,999, which is the highest that you can possibly do. And that is you going, hey, Google, I want as many of these leads as I can possibly get. And you're not going to spend that amount of money. I would argue if you did, that would be the best case scenario, right? Because of the quality of the leads. But that's how you get the most leads from the program. So beyond that, this is not the place to be super picky. You want to expand your service area, you want to expand the job types, and you want to expand the business hours. And here's just a little change in mindset, if you will, as it relates to new customers. So from what we see in the data, when you acquire a new customer, let's say Sally Jones, she will be spending at least $30,000 on HVAC services over the course of her life. Now, if you're multi-trade, you can just go ahead and immediately raise that number to $50,000. That what Sally will spend on HVAC, plumbing, electric, right? So shouldn't you be getting all that money? Like, shouldn't you be putting them in the maintenance program and following up with them via text message marketing and staying in front of Sally to make sure that you get all of that $30,000? Of course you should. So when you think about it like that, it makes it a lot more sensible to expand that service area, maybe to not the tier 1 parts of your service area. Like maybe you go tier 2, and that could be in terms of demographic, or it could be distance, like however you think about that. But again, this is the best channel for new customer acquisition. So don't get greedy on this part, and don't get picky is really what I should say. Same goes for job types and business hours. Like I'm happy to get a duct cleaning job if it's me through this program, because I know that I'm going to get them on the maintenance program and I'm going to get that $30,000, even if they come in the door through duct cleaning. I don't care. So that's my take on it. You want to close out every lead. So mark everything is booked, scheduled, archived, like add as much information as you possibly can and do it as quickly as you possibly can. That's really critical. I already mentioned this, but answering 100% of inbound calls and messages. If I could write a book on what's the fastest way to guarantee failure in local service ads, the first chapter would be miss calls when they come in, because Google just despises that. And we've seen some really high performing local service ads accounts see the performance fall off a cliff simply because the calls are not getting answered. And it's very hard to recover from that, I will tell you. So this is, if you're writing, again, write this down. The third thing I would say, do an audit of what percent of phone calls are being answered and what percent of messages are being responded to. And if it's not 100, then we got to put a solve in. Could be our AI service, could be hiring and answering service. It doesn't matter how you solve it, but we got to get to 100%. Request verified reviews on every job. Kind of already talked about that. And then increase max bid for each service. I just want to hammer this point home. If it's okay, we'll add a fourth. How about that? Fourth thing to write down. You want to go all out in terms of bidding in local service ads. just go as high as you possibly can with your per job bid, and then triple it, and do the same with the weekly spend. That is how we have seen accounts that generate 5 leads per month for 3 years. We've seen them go to generate over 100 in a month. Like, it's unbelievable. And a lot of that comes from having super high manual bids. And remember, Google doesn't spend all that money that you say you're willing to spend. So it's a great strategy. And then here's a pro tip here. This is like 401, but we share this. Our clients that say like, hey, we really want to grow as fast as possible. We want to be in the top 5%, and we want to just take our service area by storm. Implement the multi-location strategy. Guys, you can have one local service ads account per Google business profile. So when you have multiple locations, you can add multiple local service accounts. So what does that mean for you? You may say, Alex, we're doing $1 million annual, $2 million annual, like we don't need another location. That's fine. Think of it as a marketing expense. You can go lease a location for $1,000, give or take, dollars a month, create the new location. And here's an example of what we've seen from that. This is actually outdated because I was doing an audit with my team. You can double all of these numbers now. But this is a company that has 3 locations. And, by doing that, they're generating close to 200 leads per month. And as I mentioned, now it's 400 to 500. So it's a great way to just very quickly double, triple, quadruple your lead flow. And you can think of that new location as a marketing expense. I'd much rather you do that than put that money into pay-per-click, right? It still makes more sense. Even if you average out that location cost by your average lead cost, you're still going to be way ahead of pay-per-click. All right. My voice is weak today, so apologies for all the drinks. But I made a promise to deliver, so hopefully you guys are getting like massive value from this and have written down at least 4 notes, maybe 10 or more that you can go and implement today. That's really my desire, so that you can all get results like this and even better. So what you should do now, get in the game, right? I don't care if you're in that first, second, or third seat, right? So like if you're just getting started, or if you're like the pro home user, if you will, or you're like the industry leader, you should have been able to take, minimum 2 things away from today's session that you can go, yeah, we're going to implement this. Like, either we're going to get signed up for local service ads and treat this as our most serious marketing channel, or, hey, we're going to get brave and execute, and we're going to increase our max bids. Or it might be, we're going to seriously consider and take action and acquire a new location so that we can create a new profile. Whatever it is, write that down and take action. And if there's any way that I can be of help, like I'm going to share with you here in a moment, like all my personal info, like I'm happy to help. I want to see you win. Be sure that you're leveraging the platform to close jobs and updates. Like, just make sure that either you or, you hire a marketing company or whatever it takes, make sure that you're marking those jobs as booked and doing all that. Like, we offer it, as I mentioned, as an additional service because a lot of our clients, like, there's just so much going on that it makes a lot more sense to offload that, which is a great solve, but figure out a way to get that solved. And then take full advantage of new features that Google rolls out. So local service ads, more than almost any of Google's platforms, is changing all the time. And what we have found is when we help our clients stay on the cutting edge of these changes, they get a better result. So when Google changed the bidding strategy, for example, we were able to help our clients crush it because we adapted quickly, played ball, like took advantage of their new features and crushed it. So that's really how you get the best result from local service ads. Guys, that is it for today. Again, if I can be of help, this is I'm just verifying. That's my actual, like, you shoot me a text there, it's going to show up on my phone. So I'm I want to see you all win. However I can help, please let me know. If you'd like for me to take a specific look at your local service ads account or your overall marketing strategy, I'm happy to do that. We offer that on our website. Just go to hvacmarketers.com/schedule, or just click it's like big red schedule button on our website. It's really easy to find. And schedule a time. I'd love to meet you, hear your story, what you've done, where you're at, and help you get to where you want to go. So thanks so much. I hope to see you on the next session. Go out there and kill it. Here's my money button. Boom. Let's go do it. See y'all.